David here with DIY Mountain Bike. Check it out, my next project. So I picked it up out of the trash. Huffy, steel frame, looking forward to this. But what are we gonna get into in this video? Brakes, front brakes in particular. This bike is in some pretty bad shape brake-wise. So we're gonna go through some problems with the brakes, and then we're gonna take everything apart up here, put on a new handlebar, put on new brakes, and adjust the front brakes. Stay tuned. See what I got going on. So we're gonna work on our front brakes, but I thought I would jump into some things that give you a chance to evaluate your brakes. I might have to move the camera around as we're going, so stay tuned. All right, number one, this guy is just in bad shape. This is our barrel adjustment, all bent, it's all messed up. It doesn't really stop, it doesn't really move anymore. So step one, if you can't adjust your barrel adjuster up here, or if it's all hacked up like this one, these are brakes, you want these things to work. Step two, if we tackle down here, let me move down our camera. If we tackle down here, this is our noodle, right, our brake noodle. And in theory, I should be able to take this guy apart and, oh, there we go. After you get your noodle out, so we got a stirrup on this side, and we've got our noodle and a little, look at that little, already broken. But these guys should move freely. So this other side doesn't. What you can do is adjust this screw down here, and that will pull that spring out, right? So if you squeeze, turn this guy in, you can see it's springing out pretty hard now. So what's another thing to look at in terms of brakes? Pads, right? These got to squeeze against the rim. If they're not squeezing perpendicular to the rim, or if they're on an angle, a lot of things can wear out. I can see that this guy, oh, look at this, is not in good shape. It's bent. Look at the pad, fell right off. That's all molded in. So we are going to swap out these brakes. You get to see me tear all of this apart. We'll do some fast forward and mount our new handlebars, cut our cables, adjust our new brakes. Hang on. Luckily, because I am swapping this whole thing out, I can just take off the handlebars, I can take off my brake arms, the cantilever arms, and toss them out, and I can get my new stuff out of the box. I'm gonna move this light back a little bit, it's kind of blasting me. All right, so let's get this going. 5mm wrench. I'm just looking forward to getting this thing looking good. So, got this guy loosened up. right, well, we got our handlebar on. Now it's time for our brake handles to go on. We're gonna put them on loose. What I noticed, which was interesting, is that the handle is the wrong side. So what we want is our locking mechanism to be up, right? So if I got my handlebar like this, my screw is underneath, we want it on the top. So this guy's put together wrong. So the way to fix this, right, is our barrel adjustment again. There's a slot along the top. There's slots on the locking ring and the barrel. You slide that out, pull your handle in, swap around. This shorter cable is what's going to be used on our front brakes. So let's grab our other handle. We got our other handle. So this guy's going to go on this way, right? Got my bolt on top so I can tighten this guy down. Again, just reversing what I did before. Get my barrel. These guys are tightened down to each other. Let me get some stuff here. Some wrench. There we go. Get these guys loosened up. Again, line up the slots on our barrel and our locking to line up with that slot on the top. Our handle, our locking nut in, over, slide it down through all of those. Give this a little twist, lock it in. And this guy's going to go on like this. Let me get my wrench. I think we got about a 4mm here. Yep. Loosen it up. I'm going to leave it kind of loose because we got our twist shifter to put on next. So just hand, tighten this guy up a little bit. Okay, what next? I like to grease the cable up a little bit while I got it out. Just a little bit. Grease on the cable. So I'll put some on my finger. Run it down. Not much. I'll do this for the brakes and for the shifter cable. Do that. Wipe off a lot of it. Alright, next I'm going to clean up my little shafts here for our brakes, kind of rusted, and then I'm going to put some oil grease on those as well. Make sure that they're going to move nice and smooth with the brake levers. Then I can notice as I was taking things apart, this whole front wheel assembly is really loose. We'll tighten our bearings up, so hang on while I clean that up. Hey, David here. I want to jump in just for a second. If you can, subscribe. I keep forgetting to say that thing, subscribe. I got just a little channel and every little plug really helps me out. So if you can subscribe, that would be wonderful. Plus, I'm going to put up a link in the description that goes to my website, and I'm going to have the tool list and you know what I bought, where I bought it, all that good stuff on that article I wrote. Kind of describes things again. So let's get into putting some more of this together. All right, with the stud cleaned off nice, I'm gonna put a little grease on there, just the general purpose grease. Get both sides while I'm at it here. Hopefully this is the end of using some grease. Try to keep it out of the threads, just on the outside there. Point my finger off. So we're gonna use our 5mm hex again. We got our brakes over here, along with our cables on the floor. Cable cutters. Alright, so start off, got stuff loosened up. There's a pin here, 3 sets of holes. I like to start in the middle. Feed that in, line that pin up into our middle hole. And there she goes like that. Let me get my wrench on here. Get our stud in our washer in. Right. I might end up just tightening up that brake pad just a little bit so it's not in the way. We'll adjust it later. This is a shoulder bolt, so you can wrench down on it pretty good. Don't really have to worry about it, you know, tightening up too much. So we're gonna put a good turn on it. Alright, we're gonna rough line up our brake. Watch what I'm doing here. Okay, got it on. Just tightening it up in that spot. Alright, one side on. Let's do our other. Just loosening this up for in a little while. We're going to need that loosened. Okay. Next in our assembly sequence is our noodle. This end goes towards our end here. There's that. All right. Next in our sequence is our rubber boot. Slide that on. When I was putting this together the first time, I noticed my camera stopped. So you guys get to see that, or I get to do it like 3 times now, but let's get you up close and we will connect all this stuff together. So we've got our cable housing is cut. We've got our end on here. We've got our noodle. We've got a rubber gasket. But let's hook it all up and do some quick rough adjustments. And then I'll have another video that goes into the kind of fine tuning for a brake system on a Huffy mountain bike. So let's go into the close-ups and some little tricks that I've learned. Okay, I'm hoping you can see this. What I like to do, I start out by backing our barrel adjustment out just a little bit. So I've got maybe a full turn backed out. Now I don't have my noodle hooked up yet, but we've got our arms on, we've got our brakes, pads are adjusted correctly. So now what we're going to do is put it all together, do some rough adjustments on our cable itself. So really fancy tool I'm going to use, just a couple pieces of cardboard. This gives me some rough spacing on my brake pads to the rim in order to do some tightening. So it's just cardboard, right? So what I will do is first I'll rough attach this close to the end of the cable, right? Our 5mm again. I'm just doing this because it gets to almost be a three-handed kind of thing as you get going a little bit later. So rough in there, it's still loose enough that I can pull it just a little bit. All right, but again, it's like a three-handed operation. We put our cardboard in place, one side, the other side. All right, pick our stirrup up, pull this guy out just a little bit, put this together. Boy, that's not on the fishy. Okay, I've got my hands squeezing. I've got my stirrup and noodle fully set. I've got it backed out just a little bit. Pull my cable tight. Try to hold that together just a little bit and tighten. Again, like I said, this is like almost a three-handed operation. But with that cardboard, it helps set the gap. With it already loose attached, you have it in there already. Now you don't want to over tighten this. You can strip out these arms. It's not, you know, it's not steel. It's just a cast aluminum. All right, so it's in there. Take our cardboard out. All right. Now it shouldn't, oh, there we go. Wait, let me grab my little bracer here. It shouldn't fully spin, and I don't expect it to. Why? Because we've actually backed our thumb screw out a little bit, and we want to actuate this a little bit. So at that point, just barely rubbing. I expect that cable to, there we go, I expect it to stretch a little bit, and perfect, I like it. That is our brakes connected, spinning free, and we got something that stops. Subscribe, please. Thank you.